Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome in once again to another episode of Pickup Lines presented by Gamez Law Firm, Integrity Roofing and Siding, and the Sabinal Group. We are live once again inside the all-electric Lexus RZ 450e, courtesy of North Park Lexus of San Antonio and North Park Lexus at Dominion. And Dr. Deanna Saenz is here.
Hi, good morning. Well, good afternoon.
Yeah, it's almost afternoon time.
Yeah,
It is
yeah.
almost afternoon. You are the executive director of, I guess, the Texas market, if you will, of NPower. It's the letter N, Power.
Power, yes.
Which empowers a lot of people.
Empowers
I see
people,
what you did there. There's a play on
yeah.
words. And I just learned a little while ago, you are actually, you're here not from San Antonio.
Right. Originally, I'm from El Paso, Texas.
You're originally from El Paso,
Yes,
but
what
you
they call El
live
Chuco
right now.
town.
El what?
El Chuco town.
Okay.
Only people from El Paso will
Okay,
understand.
I'll take your word for it. But you live in Dallas right now.
Yes, I do. Uh-huh.
So you came down and you experienced the allergies here in San Antonio.
Allergies in Texas, no matter where I'm at.
I thought it was better up north.
No, it's not.
Oh, okay, never mind. And the Metroplex has allergies too. You were just downtown. I guess you had some meetings here in town.
I sure did, yes. I came to the office yesterday and I had some meetings in person with
Yes.
several funders. And so I stayed the night at the famous Holiday Inn.
Okay.
I
You see the sign behind us here, and we'll talk more about it in a little while. So it's NPower. It says launching tech careers, transforming lives, and we'll get into all of that here in just a little bit. But you cover Texas. I mean, that's not. I mean, that's a lot of real estate.
Yes. So I cover the 4 sites in Texas. We have San Antonio, Houston, and Harris County.
Wow.
Fort Worth, and also Dallas.
Dallas, the San Antonio office, if you will, is relatively new, right? It's only been around since 2023.
It is. We officially launched it. Samantha, the director,
Yes.
launched it in March of 2023. So it's pretty new.
Samantha's the one that brought me all this nice swag
She
and
did.
everything.
She's
So
great.
I've got T-shirts for the rest of the week and a ball cap and everything. So let's get to, before we get to Empower and everything, you went to part of your college education. You went to Texas State, right?
I did, yes.
You
in
spent
San
some time
Marcos.
in San Marcos. So
I
you're
did.
familiar. You know this area. Mm-hmm. Tell me about, I guess, growing up in El Paso, did you always know you were going to get multiple degrees and become a doctor, get your doctorate eventually and all that?
No, I didn't. I mean, I knew that I wanted to go to school. And this is the thing, growing up with the 2 parents that I had, there was no joke. You're going to graduate from high school and you're going to college. We don't know what you're going to do in college because my parents, they only had up to a 6th grade education.
Well, that was my
didn't
next
know,
question.
They just knew you had to go to college. They said, Mija, study something. We don't know what.
Doesn't
But
matter.
I knew I was going to college. I thought I was going to go to law school. And I was going to end up in Austin going to law school there. But as you know, sometimes obstacles, challenges come up in life and it changes your course. But I think I am where I need to be.
And you think about that now because I've met other CEOs and executive directors who basically said the same thing. Their parents had a elementary, middle school education through no fault of their own. I'm guessing your parents did not choose to leave school in the 6th grade, right? They probably didn't have a choice.
Yeah, they didn't have a choice. They're both from Mexico.
Yeah.
And so they immigrated here to the U.S., legally.
Right.
Back in the day before I was even an idea. And I'm blessed that they started a life here,
Yeah.
on the other side of the border. My mom grew up in Chihuahua.
Sure.
My dad, too, in Zacatecas. And so that's where they're from. I still have family there.
You do? Okay.
But yes, my first language is Spanish, which is why I still have the accent that I cannot get rid of.
That's not a
I don't
terrible
even want
thing.
to get rid of it.
No,
It
I
is
wouldn't
who
either.
I am.
I wouldn't either. You hold on to that as long as you can. So law school obviously didn't happen, but then you decided to pursue education, it's nonprofits, it's education, you've worn several hats.
Right. So originally my career started actually in sales. I used to sell the newspaper over the phone. I'm talking about when I was 16
In El
years
Paso?
old. In El Paso. The El Paso Times and the Herald Post that I don't even think the Herald Post exists anymore. So I did that for about 2 years, and
Yeah.
I, worked in restaurants, paid my way through college like most people, right?
Right.
And then I started in sales, and I did I sold Volkswagens, Mercedes, that kind of car.
What?
I know. I was in my 20s at the time. I was a young mother. I have a 27-year-old daughter.
Okay.
And so obviously that changed the route of
Right.
my career. And then I got a political science degree and a French with a French background just because I like French and I was taking it since high school, and I ended up teaching French for 9 years.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what of all the languages? I mean, and there's nothing wrong with French. I have nothing against it, but why did you choose that language?
Well, so I always was really in love with the culture.
Yes.
Growing up and just watching it on TV and all. And so I thought, well, in high school you have to take 2 years of a language to be able to graduate.
Okay.
And so I took French part 1 and part 2. And then I thought, well, I don't know enough. You learn the very basics in
Right.
high school, right? Usually, bonjour, comment ça va? And that's about
Oui,
it.
oui.
Oui,
Merci.
no, merci. And so I wanted to continue learning it, so I took it up until my senior year.
Yeah.
And then after that, you have to choose a minor in college too. And I thought, well, why don't I just continue French in college?
Why
But
not?
at the university, it's no joke. They don't let you speak English in the classes. So.
Can you give me a couple of sentences of French?
Qu'est-ce que tu veux que je dise? What do you want me to say? Je m'appelle Madame Saenz, is what I used to call
Your
myself.
name is
Miss Saenz.
Miss Saenz.
Uh-huh.
And now you're Dr.
Yeah,
So Dr.
Dr.
Saenz.
Saenz. Yeah, that kind of happened way later in my life. So
Okay.
after I taught French for 9 years, I became an administrator.
Yeah.
So I was an assistant principal and vice principal in Odessa, in the city of Odessa.
Yes,
So
yes.
I moved, and then also in Austin ISD. So I was living in Austin for about 7 years.
So but you stayed in Texas the whole
Stayed
time.
in Texas, but been all over
But
Texas.
you've been everywhere, as they say.
And now in Dallas. Uh-huh.
And now you're in Dallas and everything. Okay, so how did NPower come into your life? I know you had experience with nonprofits and you starting them and running them and making them successful and everything. But what are your earliest memories of hearing about NPower and what drove you to want to be a part of that organization?
So it's an interesting story. Remember I told you that 27-year-old daughter I had?
Yes.
Okay, so she was going to college during the pandemic, right?
Okay,
and
right.
so she stopped going to school. She also has a son who I'm a granddaughter. I'm a grandma.
You're a grandmother.
Of a grandson.
Okay.
And so she that changed the trajectory of her life. And during COVID, she couldn't put her baby in daycare, right? Because they're all shut down.
Shut down.
And so she dropped out of college. And as a mother who is a scholar, I thought, no, what do we
Yeah.
do to get you back on track?
Yeah.
And so she says, well, I don't know if I want to go back. I know I'm almost done, but I don't know if I want to do the psychology degree she was working on. She's
Yeah.
like, I really like tech, Mom. What if I look for, I don't know, some type of certification or something? This is pre-NPower for
Yes,
me, right? So
before
I didn't
NPower.
know. So I said, okay, I'm a researcher. I said, let's do this. Research, programs online, see
Yeah.
how much they cost.
Right.
And I will pay for it for you if you commit to finish it, right, to complete it. So she comes, to me a couple of days later, and she says, Mom, I found this program called NPower,
Uh-huh.
but it's in Dallas, and she lives in Midland.
Okay. Okay.
Remember I used to live
Yeah,
in Odessa, so
Odessa,
she stayed
right,
there.
right.
And she says, they say it's free, and they pay for your certifications. And I said, give me the website. I don't know about that, because I'm thinking they're going to steal her identity. What's going on, right? So I look it up.
Too good to be true.
Right, too good to be true. So I look it up, and I'm like, wow, how did I not know about this
Yeah.
program? It's amazing. So then I start clicking. I'm trying to find out who works there, what,
Yeah.
to make sure it's legit, right? And then I see that they're hiring. And there was a role in Dallas at the time for a director role. And I'm at the time where I'm finishing up my PhD.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking about already making a move. And
Looking
I'm
for a
like,
transition.
wow, this has got my name all over it, right? I've been working with high school students.
Yeah.
This is what they're going to do. I have so many students that I've met throughout my life and my career that aren't sure how they're going to go to school, how they're going to pay for
Right.
it, if they have that, capacity to do the 4 years at that time
Right.
in their life. So I'm thinking, I wish I would have known about this while I was an administrator, right? Point being, I applied, got selfish with my daughter, because my daughter's like, well, I don't think, once we read into it, she couldn't get into the program because she was in Midland. They don't have an NPower in Midland.
I see.
So she never went through the program. But point being, I applied, and I got into NPower.
So she found the program. You're the one that ultimately got in.
Yes, I stole it from her.
Oh my God.
Yes, and she would be in it if they had one in
They
Midland.
had one. Well, maybe that's your next
Exactly.
objective. Is start one in
exactly.
Midland.
I'm sure there's more students there, like my daughter, that it would benefit.
But I totally get the skepticism, because I read this, and truth
Mm-hmm.
be told, I was not super familiar with NPower myself. But you read it, and it clearly says it's a free tech training program open to qualified applicants who are in the 18 to 26 age range, but you also do a lot with military veterans and their spouses.
We do, particularly here in Bexar County.
Which would be big in San Antonio.
You know, Military City, USA.
That's right.
That's right. And so here we serve, I would say, about 66% of our students are veterans.
And again,
or military connected, so it could be the spouses too.
Free.
Yes.
I mean, and obviously somebody has to pay for this.
Yes. So we have different funding, you know, from some federal funding, some from the Veterans Association, the Veterans Commission.
Yeah.
Different places, you know, also corporate. But I will say, when we talk about military, you know, and veterans, and thank you for their service, right? But what about the spouses? Because what often happens, Ernie, is the spouses are pretty much moving wherever the veteran or the military person is going. And sometimes they have to put their career aside. More often than not, right? And so they come back and they're like, okay, you've served in the military for 10, 20 years. But what about me? Now it's my turn, right? And so super important. We also offer that service for military spouses, regardless of what age they are, because they don't age out of it.
That's true.
Like the veterans don't either. So if you're in your 30s, 40s, and you want to make that career change, or you want to get into tech, this is the program for you.
So did I mention it's free, by the way? I just want to make
That's right.
So the idea is it's IT, getting back to what your daughter said, it's a 20-week training program. So it doesn't take forever either.
No.
20 weeks.
5 months, but I will tell you it's intense because tech's not easy,
well, it's
right?
Gotta be.
I mean, it's pretty intense. So it's for example, right now we're in the fall cohort.
Yes.
And they're going to graduate in December. So our students have gone to class for 20 weeks. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, 4 hours a day. They log in virtually, but with a live instructor. So it's not really asynchronous.
Okay.
We're working on that, but right now it's live because they have to be able to ask questions and have that type of support, right? And then Thursdays we focus on professional development, because another thing that's super important is, yes, we give our students the hard skills to pass the certification test for industry recognized tech certs, right? But what about the soft skills? Learning how to communicate, learning how to interview, learning how to act at the workplace, public speaking. All of those are skills. Collaborating in groups that we can't overlook, because we look at our students holistically. Do the whole 360, right? We got the tech skills, we got we develop the soft skills, and then we also build a network, because I don't know if you remember going to college. The network doesn't come with the degree.
No.
Right? You graduate and you got to find your way, right? Colleges now are doing a better job than they did back when I graduated.
Yes.
But when I graduated, if you didn't have a network, if you didn't have a mentor, good luck.
Well, hey, we didn't have phones either, we didn't have smartphones and internet and everything.
Google things, and
LinkedIn was not even around or anything like that. So it's cool that they have that. But again, so it's 20 weeks, it's intense. But the statistics in terms of the success rate, the ability to increase your income, the retention rate that you guys have with this program, they're very high numbers. Right.
So typically the students coming into our program in the San Antonio area are making about $13,000 when they start our program. So we're talking about students that are living at the poverty line.
That's nothing.
Right. Exactly. And once we get them connected to a job in tech, they're making about $48,000.
Not quite triple, but it's a pretty dramatic.
Well, we're talking about a few months of their lives.
No, it's five months. You tell me 5 months, I would more than double my salary. I would take that.
Absolutely.
Oh, and it's free. But did I mention it's free?
Okay, and it's just a start, because what happens with tech? So they get the certifications, right, like the CompTIA Plus or the ITF Plus or both. And then from there, it's a lot about the hands-on experience. So what companies are going to now is, yes, they want the degree, but they also want the hands-on. They want the experience, right? And so some people come out of college with a degree in computer science and software, but if they don't have the experience, they're having trouble finding jobs too.
It makes a lot of sense.
And so we're able to connect them to register. We're also registered by the Department of Labor and IT apprenticeships. So we want to connect our students with those apprenticeships so they could get 6 to 8 months of experience, up to a year, and then they can translate that into a direct hire role.
So in other words, once they finish the program, you don't just say, okay, thank you, we're done. Like you maintain that relationship,
we
and
maintain
the follow-up is there.
Exactly. So after our students graduate, we still continue services for the next 3 years.
Wow.
So we have an alumni engagement manager for Texas that reaches out to our students, engages our students in speaking opportunities, different career fairs, different. We like to engage our partners too. So we have either our alumni or our partners lead a lot of our professional development. You know, we like to take knowledge from wherever it comes from,
For
right?
sure, for sure. I love it. All right, we continue on here. This is Pickup Lines with Dr. Deanna Saenz, Executive Director of the Texas market, if you will, of NPower. The letter N. By the way, the website is the letter N, NPower, just as you see it right here, npower.org. That is the website if you want to find out more. So you're currently, you mentioned the fall cohort is underway.
Yes.
But you're already looking to 2025.
Yes.
Somebody might see this and say, yes, I want that. I like that, and it's free. What's the easiest way to get a hold of you guys, or to maybe consider enrolling for 2025?
Right. So our next cohort's going to begin in February of 2025, beginning of February. So if, like you said, click on npower.org, and it's pretty easy to navigate the page. You just go to apply, find your location. Of course, if you're in San Antonio, go to San Antonio. If you're watching from somewhere else, click on one of the other links. Hopefully we have an NPower that's close to you.
Because they're all over the country, correct?
Yes, they're in several places in several states. And I will say San Antonio can reach students about 150-mile radius. So if they live even up to in Austin, they can still apply for the San Antonio.
And you also help, some people have challenges with childcare and everything. And so you take that into consideration. Because they're like, well, I want to do it, but I have a little one and I can't, So
Right. So I think what really makes our program, stand out, and the reason, Ernie, we have such high success rates with certifications and retention. Our retention rate is, I can't tell you for the last specific cohort, but for the last year, I'd say like 88%.
Yeah, no, I was looking at it. It's in the 80s,
that's pretty good. And the reason is because we take pride in fully supporting our students. Remember, I have that educator background. I've been in the education system for about 20 years as a teacher and administrator. I taught college for 2 years at the community college in Odessa.
Right.
And so oftentimes what I found is if a student doesn't have their basic needs met, they're not going to be able to focus on the learning. I don't care how good of a teacher you are, how interesting the content is, it doesn't matter.
There's too many distractions.
There's too many distractions. If you're, as an adult, if you're worried about paying your electricity bill, I'm sorry, but if I can't pay my electricity bill or my kids don't have food on the table, I'm not going to do homework. That's the last thing on my mind, right? And so it's not any different when we're adults. And so what we like to do is provide the full wraparound services. And what that includes is one-to-one mentoring. We also provide that network with industry professionals. So we do have the course that is 100% virtual, right? The classes.
Yes.
But we also have some events that are in person because we want our students to be able to apply everything that they're learning. Right? How to network. It's really hard for some people to network. They don't know how to show up to events and talk about their skills.
Well, I would think especially military members who, are dealing with their own issues of having served or maybe been deployed overseas or whatever, and they're coming back trying to reintegrate into society and just stuff that you and I take for granted, like shaking hands or eye contact or public speaking.
Or even knowing that the skills that they have are valuable and transferable.
That's exactly right.
Because I will tell you, our military veterans have a wealth of information. They come with a wealth of information, and sometimes they downplay their skills because they don't know how to connect or how to transfer those skills that they learned in the military to the civilian world. They think that it's like a different world, right?
Yeah.
And how do they connect?
Right.
So we help, military folks that are transitioning into the civilian world, and how do you translate those skills into words that people that are in the hiring departments for IT, that it's going to resonate with them, right? The right words.
Very well said. Very well said. I was just having this conversation with my kids the other day about college and everything, and I've said this before on here. It's my belief college is not for everybody. The traditional 4-year university is not for every. Years ago, maybe that was the case. You are going to college, this, that.
Right.
When we were growing up, whatever. But there are so many programs like this that are available. I just don't think people realize sometimes, much less that are free. but that this is here in San Antonio. You don't have to go to another far off distant land to find this.
Right.
It's right here, and especially anytime you can help military as well and veterans. I mean, I think that's a bonus.
Right, and I have something to say about the college is not for everyone. You're right, and it's okay if it's not, but we're not even saying that. Right. I'm a proponent of education.
Of course,
remember,
sure.
I went to school to get every last
Yes,
degree
you
you could think of, but I will say that college isn't for everyone at the time that we're supposed to go to college.
Right.
When you're 18 years old, you may have other obstacles that come along your way, but that doesn't mean that you aren't college material. It's all about timing, right?
Yeah,
and so for us, all we're saying is, if you want to go to college after you're done with NPower, which some of our students do, go ahead, do it, right? We advocate for that, because if you do want a leadership role, there is going to be a ceiling you reach if you only have the certifications and no college, right?
Right.
So that's the reality of it. You need both.
Yeah.
But maybe you need a living salary, so that you can go to college. Well, we're going to provide that and help you connect, with that. But we just want to provide options. Yeah. We want to provide options, so whatever, we're going to meet you where you're at in your life, in your adult trajectory, and put you back on that route. Whether it's college, whether it's going to NPower, getting certifications, and then you're done, you just continue getting certifications because they're stackable, the certifications, then do that. If you decide at some point you want to go back to college because you want to earn more money, do that. All we're saying is we are providing you a pathway into that. And if you end up getting that 4-year degree or the master's like some of our students have,
that's
good
awesome
for you. But you didn't, you weren't at the poverty lines while you were doing that.
I love it. Okay, NPower.org. Again, it's the letter N, NPower.org. If you want to find out more, look into the spring 2025 cohort. You brought a little something. I always ask my guests if they'd like to bring a memento or something from their life. I don't know what it is. I have not seen this yet. So you have a little something here.
Yes. So
show me what you brought today.
Well, in our conversation earlier, we were talking about how I was supposed to go to law school, remember?
Yes.
And there was some changes in my life that I overcame, and I had a different route.
Right.
So oftentimes I would think to myself, am I in the right place, right? Is this what I'm supposed to do? So I had been pondering that question that specific day. So I go into a store, a jewelry store of all things, like an accessory store, and I see a pile of these magnets. This is like a refrigerator magnet. I don't know if y'all can see
Here, let me hold it close.
Yes.
You can tell me what it says.
Well, I don't know verbatim, but it says you're in the right place at the right time or something like that.
It says, perhaps this is the moment for which you were created.
Right. So I see it in this pile of magnets that all say different things. And that one just says, hello, I'm here. Right. It stands out to me. It spoke to me. So I picked it up and I bought it. I put it on my refrigerator and I look at it often because it's a reminder that I am where I'm supposed to be. And I don't think it's a coincidence that my daughter found NPower the way she did. I think it was meant to be.
I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason.
Right. Absolutely.
And I'm sure you've thanked your daughter many times since then.
Yeah, she still says, Mom, when are we going to have an NPower in Midland?
Yeah. Chop, chop, Mom. We gotta make it happen.
Get to work.
And your daughter's doing well?
She is. She ended up getting a certification in coding.
Good for her.
So, yeah, good. But we had to pay for it.
Well.
So, I mean, it's fine.
I have a daughter in college right now, and I see that tuition bill, and I'm like,
I know. I can't complain.
I love it but I love it that there are options for people. That let's just face it, not everybody has the income or the means or parents that can afford to help or whatever, and it's just very good. So again, NPowered, and I just keep showing this because I'm a visual person. I want people to see.
Yes.
It says launching tech careers, transforming lives. So if something like IT or technology is something that you've been thinking about or you've been on the fence about, there's NPower right here in San Antonio.
Right, and we go beyond the, launching the tech career. We make a deep impact in people's lives. We transform lives. I mean, we have students that. I'll give you an example of a student.
I was just going to ask you if you had an example. Yeah.
How much time do you have?
I got enough time for you. Go ahead.
So we have students that I'm going to tell you about a veteran out of the Dallas area.
Okay.
Who was homeless, living in his car. Came across NPower. Went through NPower. This is a couple of years ago. Went through NPower. Now that person is working at a financial institution. I don't want to say, I don't want anybody to be identified.
That's fine.
in a VP role because they went back
What?
to get, yeah. So they went back to get their degree and moved up. Can you imagine?
Homeless in a car to the vice president of a financial
Right, because
institution.
NPower in Dallas has been around for about 11 years.
Right.
10, 11 years. So they've, had the time to do that. But I'll give you another example of a student who, now is an alumni, was working at a place for 3 years at an organization as a custodian.
Custodian, yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
This kid was trying to get into tech before because he always liked tech. So he knew tech. Tech
Right.
is one of those things you could teach yourself,
Sure,
right?
yeah, you learn.
And so he was good at it. Found out about NPower because his mom saw an advertisement about NPower again. He didn't think it was true,
Right,
so
right.
he looked it up, applied. So he works at that same organization, but now he's in tech. Where he used to clean the rooms, now he's in tech.
That's fantastic.
Right.
And I bet there's
Yes.
hundreds of more stories just
Several.
like that. But that's great. I love it. And I love finding out about these organizations, these nonprofits that are here. Again, Empower's only been in San Antonio since 2023. But
Right.
there are other markets around the state, around the country. If you're seeing this
Yeah.
somewhere else outside of San Antonio, maybe this is an opportunity for you. And again, spring 2025, February is the next cohort, or the next
Right.
semester, if you will.
Yes.
If you want to get on that. One more time, NPower, the letter N, power.org, if you want to find out more about what Dr. Saenz and her crew does. It's just, it's good for the soul. I love hearing
Yes.
these stories, and I love seeing that these
I love
things are
being
happening.
a part of those journeys, just knowing that I was just a little speck of someone's life. To be able to change that trajectory is amazing. That's what
so
I tell
powerful.
you. This is the type of role that I was dreaming of. So when I came across it, I have to get in there. I gotta
again,
work for this place.
All thanks to your daughter.
Yes.
Who found it. So nice to meet you. I'm glad I know you're just spending a day or two here in town, but I appreciate all that you're doing for people here in San Antonio, for our military community. I know I can speak for them when I say thank you, and all the best to you as you continue on and everything.
Thank you, Ernie. Thanks for
Very
the opportunity.
nice to see you. All right, Dr. Deanna Saenz, the Executive Director of Texas, all of Texas, including San Antonio, NPower. One more time. I want a product placement here.
NPower.org.
Find
And
out
then
more.
click on apply. Yes.
Good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, there you have another episode of Pickup Lines. We'll be back again tomorrow with another show. And you never know who's going to be sitting here in the car, but we always enjoy the conversation. And I always learn something every single time I do this show. So until next time, have a great day. We'll see you later. Bye for now.